What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel on Talks Gaming. And today, people, I'm bringing you a very cool deck profile that was actually sent in by another viewer. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I also have the replay for it, so I will point out who it is before the replay starts. But yeah, he was very cool. He said he's a subscriber to the channel, so I let him know that today that I'm actually going to be posting his video. So the deck, as you can tell, is Toon's. I tried to work on this deck for a very long time and found like no real way that, in my opinion, that it could actually function. Me and a friend of mine worked on it a lot too, and it was just one of those things where we didn't really see a lot that like could help it perform better. But I was watching this guy play this deck, and it actually worked very, very well. And I was like, all right, well, maybe this deck does have some potential. So I wanted to show it to you guys because like of how well it did in the game I watched. And yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to jump right into this. For our monster lineup, we're playing 3 of the Toon Gemini Elf. So this card's, well, maybe I should tell you what the skill does. The skill is it's Toon World, or it's a Toon World. It's a Toon World, like Mario, you know? God. This card just is Toon World at the start of the game. It takes up the skill, or a spot on your field. We play 3 of the Toon Gemini Elf. Like I was saying before, it's a 1900 beater, 900 attack point, level 4 Earth spellcaster monster, and it can attack the turn summon like every other Toon monster in the game. And if Toon World is destroyed, this card is destroyed. Your opponent, it also can attack directly if your opponent controls no Toon monsters. Not only that, it has the ability that when it does inflict battle damage to your opponent, you discard a random card from your opponent's hand. So that was makes Toon Gemini Elf, in my opinion, the card that like does very, very well for this deck. The other 3 monster cards we play in the main deck is Toon Mass Sorcerer. This card lets you draw when you inflict battle damage to your opponent. So, spell lineup, we're actually playing 1 Toon Rollback, 1 Toon World, and triple Toon Table of Contents. This pretty much turns every single one of our Toon cards in our deck into an extra 3 copies of it if we really need it to be. In my opinion, I'd probably use this more for monster cards, but you can also use it for your spell and trap cards if you so need to. The trap lineup is what I thought was the most interesting part of this deck. So, yeah, they're playing like crazy trap cards. We'll start with the Toon one. So they played Toon Mask, which is this new Toon card that came out in the Pegasus structure deck, or duo deck with Yugi and the Gaia cards. And so this card is actually really, really powerful. And it reads, if you control a Toon World, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, special summon 1 Toon monster from your hand or deck whose level is less than or equal to the level/rank of that monster, ignoring its summoning conditions. So like in this format, using Toon Mask to bring out your level 4 Toons actually isn't that bad of a play. And then during your next turn, because they were summoned during your opponent's turn, because more likely you're doing this during the end phase, right? You get to attack your opponent directly with your new Toon card that you summoned during their turn. So yeah, this card's cool. To the other spell and trap cards that we play, it's Kunai with Chain at 2. This card is insane. I saw him activate this in the one replay and was like, no way did that just happen. Kunai is too strong. But it changes the opponent's attacking monster to defense mode, equips to one of your monsters, and gives it 500 attack points. So like this card is really, really cool. Not only that, but you can make the equipped effect to one of your monsters like without having to do the switch to defense. So during the damage step of a turn where it's say Toon Gemini Elf attack directly and they only have like 2,400 life points left, you can actually Kunai with Chain during your damage step and then give them 500 extra attack points. The other trap that we're playing at 2 is Mirror Wall. This card says when your opponent declares an attack, you can have the attacking monster's attack, and then that monster's attack stays halved as long as this card remains face up on the field. So like if they declare attacks, they just go halved. It's pretty self-explanatory, but this big thing is they pay cost here for 2,000 life points or destroy this card. So you're probably not going to do that unless you absolutely have to. Lastly on our list is Waboku. That way we can keep our Toon cards alive whenever they stick to the field. So I think this card's very, 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 very good for this deck. I never even thought about using it for this deck. So I think this card is like kind of the perfect trap card to play with this deck. That way it can be like usable. And for the side deck, he had 3 Magic Drain and 3 Trap Jammer. Now, I don't think this is very good. I can understand the Magic Drain being played at 3 on the side. If they main deck Cosmics because of Moth or whatever, or if they main deck like other, like say Dust Tornado, I think Magic Drain's a good one. But he played Trap Jammer. I don't know what's very good about Trap Jammer, but to each their own. If he likes it and it works for him, he can use it. But in my opinion, I would probably just play. I can agree on the 3 Magic Drain, but you could also play that too. But if you want, you can play like Book of Moons, Lost Winds, and Cosmic Cyclones in your side deck. Personally, I would opt for the Book of Moon because of the Breaker of the Magical Warrior being in the game. This card will stop the Breaker from popping your Toon skill. So these will stop the Cosmics. These will stop the Breaker. So that's my opinion. Always play at least one Lost Wind though, because XYZ is a crazy deck. Alright, without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the deck showcase. Alright everybody, this is the deck showcase versus Tetramaster and Tendrazol. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but this is the Toon guy. Big shout out to him for sending me this list. Like, it is like one of my favorite Toon lists I've ever seen. I can't keep talking about it, or I want to keep talking about it. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the showcase. I think that he loses in rock, paper, scissors and gets made to go first. Toon World is activated to the field as a skill. Sets the Waboku and sets the Kunai, and then sets the Toon Gemini Alpha face down, which is smart because we're playing against Moth. I should probably mention that we're playing against Moth with this deck. Opponent draws into Parasite, so it was a very smart play to be setting it face down, and Kaiku is now summoned. Attacking into the defense mode, we actually end up Wabokuing the attack. That way our monster stays to the field and then flips face up. Moving into the, moving on, we summon the Toon Mass Sorcerer and then set the Mirror Wall face down. Going into the battle phase, we're actually able to attack our opponent directly with the Gemini Elf, but switch to defense mode due to our opponent's Fear Karibo. Passing turn back off the Tetra, he ends up drawing into another Kaiku. And then he's actually going to Parasite the Toon Gemini Elf because it's the biggest threat in our field. Using the Cocoon here, he's going to tribute off the Gemini Elf and summon out the Moth. Entering the battle, he's going to attack the Toon Mass Sorcerer, and then we're actually going to Kunai with Chain, giving Max Sorcerer an extra 500 attack points. But during the damage step, we're going to use the Mirror Wall, having the Kaiku's attack. Using Mass Sorcerer's effect, because we inflicted battle damage to our opponent, we get to draw a card. That was like a whole crazy line of plays. Unfortunately, we draw into like the Toon Table of Contents and the Kunai's Chain, so like we either have to choose to like pay with Mirror Wall here and like protect ourselves from the Moth, or like, you know, let it die and then protect ourselves with the Kunai for next turn. And I think that's probably what he would end up doing here, right? So he doesn't pay for the 2,000, uses the book, that way he can get the rollback, that way he can attack directly twice this turn. He activates the rollback, sets the card face down, and then enters battle phase to be able to attack for 24. So he goes ahead and draws this card, attacks directly again, and then since our opponent doesn't have anything, he's going to take 14 and then draw again. So like that's crazy. He got to draw 2 cards off of 1 rollback. Opponent draws for turn, drawing into the Man-Eater Bug, uses a Cocoon to shuffle back the Parasite, and then draws for turn, drawing into the Zoma. Sets the Zoma face down, summons the Kaiku, summons the Nidora to attack mode, and then switches the Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth to attack mode. Attacking with the Great Moth, we actually use the other Kunai here, switching it to defense mode. And our opponent can't Nidora here or he loses the game. So we draw for turn, and then our opponent admits defeat to us, because, you know, he's just going to be able to attack directly and has no spell or trap cards that can actually stop a monster that attacks directly. So that was a very, very strong play on his part. Moving on into game 2, I think he has to go first again, but he draws into the Toon World, and then so he uses the Toon Table of Contents to grab the Toon Mask, and then bluffs the Toon Mask set with the Toon World set, and then sets the Toon Mask Sorcerer face down. The opponent draws for turn, drawing into the Cosmic Cyclone. He uses the Night Beam here to hit the Toon World. And then he uses the Cosmic Cyclone here to pay 1,000 life points, and he actually hits the Toon Mask and not the Toon World, which I think is actually a fine play. He then sets the Book of Moon and then passes turn off to us. We actually go ahead and set the Toon Mask Sorcerer again face down and then pass the turn back to the opponent, who then just skips their turn again. We use the Toon Table of Contents here to grab back the Toon Mask again, and then we just set it face down and pass turn. Going on back into the opponent summons the Breaker and again opts to destroy the Toon Mask, which I don't understand why he did that there, because like he knows we play Gemini Elf, so why not just hit the Toon World? Like that would have been such a better play in my opinion. Attacking into the face down Toon Mask Sorcerer and then passing turn here. Drawing into the Waboku, we actually summon the other Toon Gemini Elf. and then we set the Waboku face down. Flipping the Toon Mass Sorcerer face down, we enter into the battle phase and attack directly with the Toon Gemini Elf, but it gets Book of Moon face down. Passing the turn back to the opponent draws into his Sphere Kuriboh, uses the Parasite Paranoid, and equips it to our other Gemini Elf. He actually is going to tribute it off and then summon his Perfectly Ultimate Great Moss from his deck, and then attack directly into the Toon Mass Sorcerer. We use the Waboku here to keep the Mass Sorcerer alive and spare our life points, and then draw for turn to the Mirror Wall. We set the Mirror Wall face down and then attack directly into our opponent for 900 damage. Our opponent takes it even though they have Sphere Kuriboh, and we get to draw a card. Drawing into the Toon table of contents. Opponent draws into the other Sphere Kuriboh so he can block 2 of our direct attacks now, and then uses the second effect of Cocoon to shuffle the deck and then draw into the Zoma Spirit, setting it face down and then attacking into the Toon Mass Sorcerer with the Moss. We take the full amount of damage, and then Mass Sorcerer is sent to the graveyard. Drawing for turn, we draw into the Toon Mass Sorcerer again, go into our main phase 1, and then use the Toon table of contents, going for the other Gemini Elf. We actually summon the other Gemini Elf and attack directly into the opponent for 1900, which it gets Sphere Kuriboh. Zoma the Spear gets summoned on the end phase, and then the opponent draws into another Parasite Paranoid. Enter into the battle phase, Zoma is going to attack into the Toon Gemini Elf for potential game, and they have to admit defeat there. So that's game 2 going to Tetra Master. But yeah, that deck still played very, very well versus Moss in that matchup. I was actually very surprised when I was watching it. As you can see, I've been here since like before they drew their starting hands. I was like really hyped about watching this game when I saw that he was playing Toons versus Moss. I was like, did he crack the code? And I was like, oh my god, he actually did well. He sets the Book of Moon face down and then passes turn off to the opponent because we opt to make him go first finally. We now have our 5 cards starting hand, but it doesn't matter because we brick on Toon World. We set the Toon Gemini Elf, set the Waboku, and then set the Mirror Wall. Makes sense. Opponent draws for turn, drawing into Cosmic Cyclone. So they have the Cosmic Night Beam matchup again. Night Beaming the face down, and then Cosmicing the other face down card. So again, it was like crazy. Just keep in mind this Mirror Wall is actually banished. Doesn't actually matter towards the game though. Flips the Toon Gemini Elf face up, and then summons the Toon Gemini Elf. Sets the Toon World for the bluff, and then also sets the Kunai's Chain. I don't know how often I'd actually bluff the Toon World here, just because of the fact that, I mean, yeah, it makes sense to bluff it because of this, but now that zone's taken up for the rest of the game. Opponent draws into the Zoma Spirit, and then parasites the Toon Gemini Elf. Cocooning it away, he summons the other, he summons the Moss from deck, tributing off the Gemini Elf, and then Book of Moons the Toon Gemini Elf face down, and then sets the Zoma the Spirit face down as well. He attacks into the Toon Gemini Elf, to which we Kunai was chained to defense mode. We draw for turn, drawing into the Waboku, set it face down, and then flip the Toon Gemini Elf face up. Zoma the Spirit is then summoned to the field, and then the opponent draws into Breaker the Magical Warrior. Using the effect again, he shuffles the Parasite back in the deck, and then draws a new card, drawing into the Parasite. Summons the Breaker, and then opts to use the Breaker's effect to pop again of the back row. So we just protect our Gemini Elf here. Drawing for turn, we draw into the table of contents. Use the contents effect to get rollback. Now, if this goes through, like we win. We use rollback, attack directly for 1900. And then, yeah, that's game. This guy actually beat Moss using Toons. Like, I watched this and I was like, there's no way. I asked both players if I could, like, get the deck or I asked Tensorsoul if I could get the deck profile, and I asked Tetra Master if I could use the replay. And it was like, oh my god, this was so funny. Rollback is so strong. And then it's being able to, like, grab anything you need in that moment. It's so good. Content is really cool in the deck. I still don't understand exactly why he wasn't popping the It's a Toon World, but, like, I guess he just felt like he was in a good position and just wanted to get rid of the back row. That way he could, like, you know, win the game. But, like, when the entire deck's based around, like, attacking directly, like, come on, dude. Still, they both played very, very well. I understand why he was attacking the back row more than that. This card doesn't do anything. Like, outside of everything else, this card doesn't do anything on its own. So destroying the back row, like, get rid of the Wabokus and Kunais with chains and mirror walls, I feel like that actually is probably the play he should have been doing, but also when it came down to it was the Breaker here, he probably should have hit the It's a Toon World. That way he could clear the Toon Gemini Elf because it self-destructs when it's destroyed. So, that's my opinion on that one. So if you guys like this type of content, make sure you leave a like. If you guys like me, make sure you subscribe. If you guys have a replay and deck profile you want me to do, just send it to me on through Discord, through Toxin on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy Discord. And yeah, so I want you all to have a great day, and I'll see you all next time, and bye.